to come back to the suffering loop, but focusing on really like validating yourself. So say for instance, you might be able to look at the circumstances in which, happened before you actually took that exam. So say for instance, if you didn't have a good night's rest, if you didn't have a full belly, if you didn't study as much, if there's home life stressors going on, if you didn't wear your lucky socks, whatever it may look like for you, really validating those circumstances that sometimes we have no control over, and they do affect us. There's been studies done on people, and they're doing like self-report measures, and there's more irritation in people that, say for instance, are in rooms that are extremely hot or like really cold. Like those little things, you may not think they really amount to much, but they do. They affect us, and we're constantly going through so many things on a day-to-day basis that fluctuate our mood. So to have a test already preset when we have to take it, we don't know how we're going to feel that day, so it's not necessarily the most fair to put all of that pressure on ourselves if we didn't do the best we could. But that being said, you also, there's like a phrase where you can't hope for an A but study for a B, right? You also have to do the most you possibly can to apply yourself, and also taking breaks. Angela, I don't know if that answered the question.
Can I add?
Yes, please, Jade.
Okay, so I'm just going to summarize. So what you talked about is problem solving, right? Is sort of thinking about what are some of the reasons why I'm here, asking yourself what happened, what can explain for the reason why maybe I haven't gotten the grade that I've gotten. Have I studied enough? What are some of the life events that have happened that may have influences, maybe environmental context of the room, like being cold or warm. The other thing that I think is really important to do is to hold space for that, right? The feeling of loss and grief and maybe embarrassment that might happen with having the grade that you've gotten. And oftentimes, when we're overachieving, we go right into shame. And shame is this idea that I'm not good enough. And taking, like we talked about, our identity, taking our identity out of that. So this remembering that this is one exam, this is one event that I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And by allowing yourself that space to sort of identify it, and you're kind of freeing yourself from that, because it makes you feel more empowered, so that next exam you come to, you're like, okay, that was a one-time situation. I studied better, I studied differently, I problem solved, I talked to the prof, I ate well. And for me, actually, I implemented a lot of like activation routines, or like deactivation before exams. So I'd actually meditate before each exam that I had, and connect to my higher knowledge every time I sat before an exam. And like, I wasn't an A+ student all the time. Like I liked getting A's, but I oftentimes got B's, and I made it to a doctorate, right? And so also understanding that like your worth and who you are as, if you're in psychology, as a potential clinician, doesn't mean that it's because you did well on a multiple choice test, right? It just means you're good at taking multiple choice tests. So really putting that into perspective and shifting around that. So problem solving, validating, making space for your loss of your exam, separating it from your identity, and actually implementing strategies before your exam to put you in the best performance state.